What do you like to do in your free time? Maybe you love watching movies. Maybe you listen to awesome podcasts like this one. Today, we are going to teach you how to talk about what you do in your free time en español.
Welcome to Spanglish Friends, the podcast for true beginner Spanish learners.
Hola amigos, I'm Val, your co-host and experienced Spanish teacher from Venezuela.
And I'm Em, your Australian co-host who's been learning Spanish for 10 years.
Our goal is simple, to get you confident listening and speaking in beginner Spanish with content you'll actually use in real-life conversations.
Join the Spanish Friends community by subscribing wherever you listen to podcasts and following us on social media at Spanglish_friends. Let's get started.
Comencemos.
Bienvenidos, Spanglish friends. Welcome back to your weekly dose of basic Spanish.
Sí! Welcome, amigos, to episodio 28, episode 28. Can you imagine? Wow. Today, we are diving into how to talk about what you do in your free time in Spanish, en tu tiempo libre. This is super useful because it comes up in a small talk all the time. And it's a chance to actually connect with people in Spanish.
And like always, friends, we've got 3 questions of the day to guide our learning of this topic. So, pregunta número 1 es, ¿cómo pregunto a otra persona qué hace en su tiempo libre? How do I ask someone what they do in their free time? We're going to teach you 2 ways to ask this question. Pregunta número 2. ¿Cómo puedo hablar de la frecuencia en español? How can I talk about the frequency of how often I do something in Spanish? For example, I do this every day, sometimes, or I almost never do this thing. Pregunta número 3. ¿Cómo digo en español en qué momento hago mis actividades? How do I say in Spanish when I do my activities in my free time? For example, during the week, on the weekend, in the mornings, afternoons, or the evenings.
To bring these questions to life, Em and I are going to have a conversación pequeña, a short conversation. Today, we are describing what we both do in our free time.
Yes, and don't worry about understanding everything, Spanglish friends. The objective, as always, is to recognize familiar words and see just how far your Spanish listening skills are progressing, right? And introduce some new words to you in a familiar context. Quick challenge, as always, try and catch and write down at least 3 words you already know. After this, we're going to be answering our questions of the day to guide our learning and breaking this mini conversation down so you understand everything we have said. Let's chat, amiga Val.
Ready, amiga? Comencemos. ¿Qué haces en tu tiempo libre?
En mi tiempo libre me gusta leer y escuchar música. ¿Y tú?
A veces corro en el parque y los fines de semana veo películas.
¡Qué bien! Yo siempre leo por la noche.
También me gusta cocinar. Normalmente preparo algo especial los sábados.
Yo casi nunca cocino. Casi siempre pido comida los viernes por la noche.
Oh, wow. ¿Y te gusta ver series?
Sí, me encantan. Todos los días después del trabajo veo un episodio.
Perfecto. Yo a veces veo series por la tarde, pero prefiero escuchar podcast.
Friends, pause and repeat these key phrases you've just heard. Try saying me gusta, a veces, los fines de semana, casi nunca, todos los días, because we're going to be sharing with you what all of this means right now.
Ready to dive into our first question? Let's get started.
With pregunta número 1. ¿Cómo pregunto a otra persona qué hace en su tiempo libre? How do you ask someone in Spanish what they do in their spare time?
The easiest way here, amigos, is ¿Qué haces en tu tiempo libre? That means, what do you do in your free time?
Yes, let's break that sentence down. ¿Qué means what? Haces means hacer. And en tu tiempo libre means in your free time. ¿Qué haces en tu tiempo libre?
Another option can be, ¿qué te gusta hacer en tu tiempo libre? ¿Qué te gusta hacer en tu tiempo libre? Adding te gusta. You say, what do you like to do in your spare time, in your free time, friends? Try saying both versions now and see which one feels more natural to you.
Yes, ¿qué haces en tu tiempo libre? Or ¿qué te gusta hacer en tu tiempo libre?
Both questions work perfectly and open the door for longer answers.
Moving on to our pregunta número 2. ¿Cómo puedo hablar de la frecuencia en español? How can we talk about the frequency in which we do things in our spare time in Spanish?
Frequency words are key to making your answers sound natural, amigos. The main ones include, for example, siempre, which means always, a veces, which means sometimes, nunca, which means never, todos los días, which means every day, casi nunca, which means almost never, and casi siempre, which means almost always.
And you can place these words before or after the verb, the doing words. But as beginners, we'd recommend it's easiest to put them before a verb. Por ejemplo, for example, siempre escucho música. I always listen to music, right? Siempre means always. Escucho means I listen from the verb escuchar. And música means music. Another example, a veces bailo. A veces bailo. A veces means sometimes, and bailo comes from the verb bailar, to dance. Try saying both of those sentences out loud now. Siempre escucho música y a veces bailo.
A few more examples. Nunca canto. Nunca canto. I never sing. Canto comes from the verb cantar, which means to sing. And another one, casi siempre leo por la noche. I almost always read in the evening. Leo comes from the verb leer and por la noche is in the evening. Now, amigos, the final question, pregunta número 3. ¿Cómo digo en español en qué momento hago mis actividades? How can I say the time of the day when I complete my activities?
Yes, now here are 5 time expressions that you need to learn to make your sentences sound more natural in Spanish. Por la mañana means in the morning. Por la mañana. Por la tarde means in the afternoon. Por la noche means in the evening. Can you see all start with por to say in? We have entre semana, during the week. El fin de semana, on the weekend. El fin de semana.
Now, amigos, try to combine the frequency and time expression for natural sentences. For example, siempre leo por la noche. I always read in the evening. Siempre leo por la noche. Or a veces corro los sábados por la mañana. Sometimes, a veces, corro, I run, on Saturday mornings. Los sábados por la mañana. With just these simple pieces, amigos, you can already create literally thousands of sentences about what you do in your free time.
Yes. Now, friends, let's reinforce what we've learnt by breaking down a few key phrases from the conversación pequeña, the mini conversation that Val and I had early on about what we do in our free time. Repeat these sentences after me. En mi tiempo libre, me gusta leer y escuchar música, right? I'm saying in my free time, me gusta leer. I like to read. Y escuchar música. I like to listen to music. A veces corro en el parque. I like to run in the park. A veces means sometimes. Los fines de semana. Do you remember what that means? The weekends, yes. Los fines de semana veo películas. I like to watch movies. Yo siempre leo por la noche. Yo siempre, do you remember siempre? Means always. Leo por la noche, I always read at night. Comes from the verb leer. Casi siempre pido comida los viernes. This is a new verb we haven't taught you before, pedir, which is to order something. Casi siempre means almost always I order food on Fridays. I've clearly had a busy week and I don't want to cook for myself.
What a great summary. Let's also remember, friends, the two ways to ask someone what they do in their free time. We can say either ¿qué haces en tu tiempo libre? Or ¿qué te gusta hacer en tu tiempo libre? In our mini conversation, I said ¿qué haces en tu tiempo libre? To start the conversation. Great. Also, notice how each reply we set a frequency word or a time expression like por la noche or por la tarde. In the evenings, in the afternoon, say them out loud to really cement them and practice.
Yes, and a quick mini quiz here to cement our learning. If I want to say, putting into practice, friends, I sometimes cook, okay, what frequency word would I use to say sometimes? All right, think about it. 3, 2, 1. It is a veces, a veces. And I would need to use the verb conjugation cocino, which comes from cocinar, I cook. The full sentence would be a veces cocino. Sometimes I cook.
That's right. Before we wrap up, let's highlight the 3 key takeaways from today's episode, amigos. If you remember anything, it should be these 3 things. Write them down. If it helps you, remember them. Número 1, to talk about what you like to do in your free time, use me gusta plus the verb. En mi tiempo libre, me gusta leer. Try to say it out loud. En mi tiempo libre, me gusta leer. In my free time, I like reading. Número 2, add frequency words to make sentences more natural, like siempre, always, a veces, sometimes, nunca, never, todos los días, every day, casi siempre, almost always, or casi nunca, almost never, and practice them out loud. Last one, número 3. Use time expressions like por la mañana, in the morning, por la tarde, in the afternoon, por la noche, in the evening, entre semana, during the week, or el fin de semana, in the weekend. Combine them with frequency words for variety. For example, siempre leo por la noche. I always read in the evening. That's great.
What a great structure. So using a frequency word, a verb, and then a time of the day. 3 things in one sentence. Bang. Friends, now you have all the tools to talk about your free time confidently in beginner's Spanish. Hey, let's put your new skills to the test, shall we, with our reto of the week. This week, we want to know, ¿qué haces los fines de semana? What do you do on the weekend en tu tiempo libre, in your free time?
Here's the fun part. Try to write at least one sentence in Spanish using the phrases and frequency words we just learned today. For example, a veces corro en el parque los sábados. Sometimes I run in the parks Saturdays. Or siempre veo películas los fines de semana. I always watch movies on the weekends.
Yes, we want you to try and use one frequency word at the start of your sentence, a verb, and then a time expression to tell us what time of the day or part of the week you do that thing. It shows us you're really putting your newfound Spanish skills to work.
Yay! Don't wait. Do it whilst it's fresh in your mind. Post it in the comments or DMing us on Instagram today. We'll be reading them all, and some of you might even get a shout out, Spanglish friends, in our next episode.
Yes, take this moment to practice, get creative, and shine your Spanish skills to the world. Write your sentences and send it in before the week ends. We can't wait, as always, to see your amazing progress and sentences.
Yay! And a spoiler alert, amigos. In episode 29, episodio 29, we'll learn how to tell the time in Spanish, so you can describe plants in even more detail.
Yes, don't miss our next episode.
Catch you next time, amigos. Hasta luego. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao. Hasta la próxima, amigos.
Thank you for listening to Spanglish Friends. We are both so proud of the time you're investing to level up your Spanish listening and speaking skills.
If you've enjoyed today's episode, follow us and give the show a rating wherever you listen to podcasts. Or even better, tell a friend about the show. It's how we can help even more people on their Spanish learning journeys and continue to grow our awesome, supportive community.
Don't forget to check out our socials, including Instagram and TikTok at Spanish_friends for even more beginner Spanish fun.
Congratulations on taking another step today towards your Spanish learning goals. Ciao, Spanglish amigos. Until next time.
Hasta la próxima, amigos.